Hey, welcome to this video on how to use Google Collaboratory. We'll explore some of the features that Google Collaboratory provides, and we'll also learn about why that is important to us to learn about this at this point of time. So the very first thing you need to check is you need to go to this website called collab.research.google.com. This is basically going to redirect you somewhere. For example, if I try it here, research.google.com, you'll see that there are multiple options that we already have or that I have already worked on. But if you want to create a new notebook, you need to click here. But first, let's explore what the Colab has to provide as an interface. So as an interface, it is going to provide you the access to popular LLMs, which is very essential at this point of time, with a simple code like this. So you can use this kind of code. You can also explore the Gemini API, which is of course the platform built on Google, and also Colab is also built by Google itself. Now it is also going to give you a brief overview on what Colab is and how we can get started. So we'll not go through that, but we'll do it practically. So once you go to that site, you'll be redirected to interface like this. You can create a new notebook here. Very first thing when you go to the Google Colab is you need to connect to an instance. So if you look at right hand side, you'll see connect, right? So if you connect to that, it will connect to some server with some resources there. So we'll explore that in a tab called runtime here, but let me first give you an idea on how we can use the sail here. So if I want to import something, you can just import OS. So I'm sorry about that interface. Let me disable that because I did it for just to test. Now that is disabled. I'll show you how to enable that as well. So basically I've imported OS and I basically hit shift enter or click on the run button. It has already executed that code called import OS. So once you look at here, once we connect to a system, it is giving us something like RAM and disk. So if you open this, you'll see that you have been provided with some amount of RAM, which is 12.7 GB, and almost 0.9 GB has been used just by executing this code or just by using the interface. And then you have disk size, which is 107 GB in this context. And you'll also see some of the information here, like you are not subscribed, you currently have 0 compute unit, and you might need premium. And they have only provided me a runtime of around 4 hours. So we can basically get a premium version of it and use it more, right? So you can, if you want to buy something, you can just click on upgrade to Colab Pro, and you'll be redirected to the main section where you can buy different premium from them. So one of the premium that they have is pay as you go. So you can just pay whatever the compute size that you're using. Next you have is Colab Pro, which is the most recommended one. I also recommend this because it provides a very good thing. If you are just learning, it's very good that you use Google Colab Pro. And you also have Colab Pro Plus, which gives like 500 compute unit. So whenever you are training a very large model, then you might need to consider Colab Pro. But for this case, for this tutorial, we are good with Colab Pro. You can just go like 9. When you click on that, you'll be redirected to the payment window. You can just add a credit card, or you can just pay by different medium that is available, and you can get that. So on the left hand side, first thing that you see is triple dot, which is a table of content. So whatever the section that you have built in the Collaboratory, for instance, if you have some markdown text, let's say if you have created a block with text, so if you whenever you hover like on the bottom of the cell, you'll see that you can create a code, or you can either create a text, right? So you can just create a section here with a header. It's a markdown style, so you can just do a hash, and then you can put a section. For example, in this case, we can say pre-processing text, for example. So if you run that, whatever the number of blocks that you have after this, it will be wrapped inside this markdown text or a section. And on the left hand side in the table of content, you can see that it has created a pre-processing text as a section. So whenever you are down somewhere and want to go in different section, you can come here and always click there. It will be pushing you to the section there, right? Or you can create a section right from here. You can rename it to something else. For example, training, you can run it, right? So, or you can just do a smaller text, right? If this is too big, you can also do a smaller text with multiple hash, right? So along with that, you can also bold the text, right? You can also do bold, you can also do italic, you can also put it inside a code block, or you can make it as a link, right? And also add some images and stuff like that. So this is a very handy tool to document the IPYNB file as well. Now next we have is this window where you can find and replace. So whenever you have a lot of code here, maybe you want to change some part of the code, then you can just find it here, right? For example, if I just find processing, it has detected some results. So whenever you are down there, you can just click here and come back and always make an edit, or you can just replace it with something else, let's say pre-process, right? So once you hit that, it will change the block, right? So it has changed the block. Now what else can you do with Colab is you have this code segment. So this is basically a Colab default code that is provided to you. For example, if I want to mount my Google Drive, because maybe I might have data in my Google, then you can just find search mount Google and then just click on the code that you feel like. I'm gonna shift it here, and if you look at the bottom, you can see that there is a code provided to you. So once you do that, once you execute this in a code block and hit shift enter, it will start connecting with your Google Drive. So I'll not go through that. You can just click on this and select a Gmail drive that you want to connect to, and then you'll be connected to that drive, right? So not only that, it will provide ton of coding resources, right? So you can just use accelerating pandas with GPUs. You can also go down. There are some default plotting as well, so you can make use of this as well. So another great thing about this section is you can also manage your secret keys. So whenever, guys, always remember, whenever you are working with some API keys, some confidential keys, you always have to maintain it in a secret environment. You cannot directly put it here. Let's say OpenAI API key equals to, and say some code, right? The API key that they provide. So we usually do not prefer that, because you might have to share this IPYNB file to somebody, and then they will have the access to your API key. And of course, API key is not free sometime, so your resource might be used by somebody else as well. So you should always avoid that. So for this case, Colab provide a very beautiful beautiful interface where you can create different keys. For example, I have created two keys. If you want to create a new one, you can just add new secret key and put your own secret key there as well. For now, I have already created. So for this case, I have created a Google API key. So for that, it's very simple. You can just click on this Gemini API key, and then you can just import from Google AI Studio, which you have connected to. Or if you want to put in API key from somebody else, let's say your company provides that, then you can just always set a variable and pass a value here. All right, so I'm going to experiment with OpenAI key because I have created a dummy API key here. So this is just dummy, nobody can use it. So to enable the secret key, you just need to enable this, right? You need to hit that, and the code on the bottom, you need to copy this. You come to any coding cell. Now that we have copied the code from this section, you can just change this secret name to a desired key. For example, this case, OpenAI API key. Now if I paste it here and assign it to a variable, for example, OpenAI API key equals to, and then hit enter, shift enter, it will store this API key into this variable. So now you can use this API key to instantiate or to initiate your large language model like OpenAI. But how do you know that the variable has been set it up without even passing it to the instance? For example, you can just go here on the bottom left, you get variables, and you can see that multiple variables are stored in your instance. So you can just use this variable to initiate that API, right? So yeah, this is very important, guys. Just make sure you always do this. Let's move on to something else. So we also have these files in Google Colab where where you can upload different files. Let's say if you are training an image classification model, you can also upload any image here with the upload function. You can also create folder, you can manage it whatever you want. Or we can also connect to a Google Drive like we did before. We can either do it by code, or you can just connect from here directly. So once you do that, it will automatically connect to my Google Drive because I'm already logged in as a user. So it might take some time, but it will complete the process. So once the mounting or the process is completed, you can see that you can just drop down and see all the files that you have in Drive. I will not expand that, but you can just use it as a path. For example, if I want to use some folder from here as a path, you can just copy the path and then paste it wherever you want to, right? So this is another thing about Google Colab. And on the top hand side, you can see you can also create a new code block, or you can either create a text block, or you can also run all the code that you have, right, from top to bottom. So you can just press this and it will start running all the code, or you can select from particular, a session and run the code, right? On the top hand side, you can see there are different file operations that you can do. You can create a new notebook, you can rename, you can move, you can save, and you can also download the file that you have created, which is ipynb file or .py file. So once you hit that, it will download it in your local system, right? It is downloaded. Now we also have edit functionality, where you can also have a edit capacity of whatever you do. You can select all cell, you can delete, you can manage. And now this is the focus point that you have to keep. This is a very important part of the whole collaborative, because you can also get GPU access when you are working with Google Colab. That's why many people prefer working with Google Colab, right? So whenever you want to change it to GPU environment, let's say if you are training a very large model or even large language model, fine tuning it, you can just change it to different runtime. For example, currently it's running in CPU. You can select between TPUs, or you can select between GPU, and also you can select between TPU. So once you do that, you can just save it. So after saving, you can see on the top right corner, you can see that it's connecting. So after that is connected, you will be accessible, or you will get access to running your code in a GPU environment, right? In a T4 GPU environment. So you will see that we have 12 GB RAM, we have 15 GB of GPU, and also 112 GB of disk, right? So if you do not have enough, you can always upgrade to Pro and you can just run it. So, but for now, it is giving me information that I can only use it for 4 hours 20 minutes for this instance. So if you have to train your model for larger time, then you might consider buying a premium from it, from the Colab, right? And on the bottom side, you can also see terminal. So whatever you want to install or you want to run, you can also use the use terminal as well. pip install request, for example. You can run this, it will start installing for your instance. And another good thing about this is, whenever you are working with a team, you can also always comment on different cells that you want. Let's say cell 1 has issue, for example. You can just comment that, right? So it will put a comment on your cell 1, or whichever cell that you have selected, add a comment. It will start putting a comment here as well, right? You can just add a comment, hello, for example. So this will be tagged to the cell that you selected, right? And another great thing about Colab is you can also interact, change theme. You can put it on light theme, you can put always on dark theme. And editors, AI assistant, whatever you want to prefer about AI assistant. Collaborative Pro, whatever feature that you get from there. You can also connect with GitHub. And finally, we have miscellaneous, which is not to use feature, but people do like it, right? I personally do not like it, but let me show you how it works. So let's say power label, maybe I can select mini power and save it. After saving it, you'll see that there's something running on the navigation bar here for the Colab, right? Some people really like it because there's something happening in the interface, but my personal preference, I do not really keep it there because it is giving me a distraction. And I also selected something else, right? Power. So whenever I tap, you'll see that there is a lot of flares going on. This reminds me of 90s game and arcade games. But yeah, some people like it, but I do not prefer keeping it. But if you like, you can just select from here and just select it, right? So I hope this video helps you on how Google Colab works. See you in the next.